Hello and welcome to Bowtie Life. I am Bowtie David, and this is my garden, what I like to call the Bowtie Gardens. And you're watching Bowtie Life, where we talk mostly about life in the garden. And the sun is right in my eyes, but I wanted to talk briefly about ginger and harvesting it. In this video, we're going to go through the whole process of harvesting it, dehydrating it, and storing it for future use. And if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please do. Those of you who have subscribed, thank you so very much. You have helped grow the channel, and I appreciate that. And if you don't want to miss anything else going on in the garden, just subscribe so you don't miss anything. The big thing about this channel for me is that it is a personal log of things that are going on in the garden. And I go back and look at these videos and remind myself what's going on, what I did when, and so on and so forth, so my ADD brain can remember. I've tried logging, I've tried photographing, I've tried a few different methods, and this just really speaks to my brain, and it really does me good, so I do it this way. And you're welcome to join along with me and learn along with me, maybe just get entertained along with me. If you want to laugh at me, that's fine too. So we're going to work on harvesting some ginger. Hi, I'm Bowtie Dave. Sometimes it's hard to believe I've made over 400 videos for this channel, and this is the first time I got smart and put up a shade cloth over the camera so that I can see, and so maybe you can see too. So we're in the shade of the shade cloth. One of these years I'll invest in a little bit better equipment to help break the shade or the sun sometimes. But anyway, so ginger. A lot of you know what ginger is. I think it's a kind of a universal, is it a spice or an herb? I can't remember. One of those two. And we like it around our house. Mrs. Bowtie sometimes cooks with it. I love cooking with it. Sometimes I'll just make a ginger tea. And I love the ginger tea. It's very healthy for you. A lot of benefits. But we've been growing this ginger all year. And there's a video, in fact, let me see if I can find it and put a link in the upper right-hand corner about when I harvested or when I planted. I actually remember late last spring, I discovered a plate of ginger sitting in my sunroom out here and sitting in dirt, and I had almost forgotten about it. Some of it had rotted, but there was just enough that I could plant 10 of them in here and get a bit of a crop here this year. So I'm kind of excited about that. Some of these are big, and in fact, I'm going to pull one of these over here up. Now, ginger is not a very deep-rooted plant. It's not very deep-rooted. But see, now I just pulled up a single piece here. It's got there's a couple of the roots. I just broke it off. It just broke off right there. That's not what I was looking for. I want to pull off one of these medium-sized pieces so you can kind of get an idea of how it looks. Oh, perfect. So there we go. You can see there's not much to the roots here. That right there is not ginger. That is dollarweed root right there that's kind of grown into it. We don't want that. We'll get it out when we break it apart. But that's all there. See how that pulls out? That is not ginger root. That's pretty funny though. But you've seen ginger in the store, and it has these bulbules. It's covered with dirt. Now, I don't want to wash off the dirt on these quite yet because I want to figure out which ones I'm going to save for planting next year. Always want to plant new ones for next year. Okay, there, all the dollarweed root is out of there, and all we have left here is ginger. Now, you'll notice this part here looks really good. This actually broke off somewhere on here. This was one plant, but you see how there's one down here below? This one down here below is actually the piece I planted last year, and it grew this whole plant. somehow it was attached together. I don't see where, but that was one plant right there. And these things grow pretty big, but this is the edible part across here. I'm presuming this would be edible too. It actually feels really strong. So I'm actually going to check out processing that for eating this winter. I'm particularly interested in, this is one plant right here. All this is one plant. And it's huge. It's huge. So rather than breaking it apart in half like I did that last one, I went and grabbed me a fork, and I'm going to just stick it down in here, not into the plant, but underneath the plant. And I'm going to try to liberate this whole plant. And you can see here, this thing is a monster. Now it did break apart, but you can tell there is a monster piece of ginger right through here, going all the way up into here. That is enormous. I've never grown a piece of ginger that huge. So what's going to happen with this is we're going to go in, we're going to break some of these off to plant for next year. We got 10 plants here. Now, interestingly enough, 3 years ago when I started planting these, I grew 2 ginger plants. Last year, those 2, I had some of the ginger, saved it and everything, and I planted 6 ginger plants. This year, even with losing a lot of them due to neglect, I grew 10 of these. And now this is the biggest one. They're not all of this big, but they fall into the range of the first one I picked and this one. But yeah, so you can actually save your own harvest, and you can grow more and increase your harvest. And after a few years, you can have as much ginger as you want. Now, I'll be honest, this is a lot of ginger. This is a lot more than I'm going to eat in a year. I will probably end up giving some of it away, and then I will save some of it for planting next year. And so what we're going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and pull up the rest of these, and we'll see what we got and save what we can and go from there. Wow, that's enormous. Phew. So we're here in the Florida room. I called it a sunroom earlier. It gets called different things. But anyway, first thing I want to do before I get all the dirt, I mean, look at these things. Look at how big that is. In fact, let me just weigh it real quick. This one piece is fairly clean. That one piece is 1.5 pounds, or let's see, almost 3/4 of a kilo. That's incredible. But before I really go cleaning any of these things and getting all the dirt off, I want to make seeds out of some of these, and seed plants, and we're going to take pieces of these and grow them next year into ginger. And so to do that, you need a few nodules to grow new sprouts. Like that little piece right there can grow a whole new plant. This is actually probably about as big as the smallest piece that I grew last year, and I'm trying to get a little bit bigger than that this year. So I'm not looking for a piece that small. I do like the look of this piece. There's nodules here. If I break that off and break that off, see, look at that piece now. It's got all kinds of ready to go pieces for next year to grow a new plant. I like that a lot. So I'm going to pull out a few like that. This one actually is amazing. Look how big this one is. That's a nice piece. Last year I didn't have as big a pieces because I simply didn't have as much as this. So I'm just going through here and kind of looking at these, trying to find these growth nodules. None of these are quite big enough for what I want to do. So I like this piece here. Question is, does it have any growth? Let's see, there's some growth nodules. So I break this one off, break this off. There we go. That's going to be a nice piece to plant for next year. I'm getting a little smaller here now. I better see if I can get back up to the size I'm looking for. Now this thing here looks like it split or something right there. But it looks like a good piece. So yeah, it's got some bunch of growth nodules. So there's 5 big pieces, and then I'm going to do 6, let's say 5 smaller pieces. That's too small. I'll go back with my original piece. This thing got broken into pretty bad. I like the look of this piece. Got growth nodules there. There's actually some roots there. Let's see, this one has some good growth nodules on it. So there are 10 pieces. 11 pieces. Let's make it an even 12. So the reason why I'm getting these out first is so that I don't want to get the dirt off of these. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be just sticking them down inside this soil right here in this little pan and kind of half burying it. But first I want to weigh it because I'm trying to weigh everything now. I've been trying to do that all year. I know there's a lot that didn't get weighed simply because life happens, right? So these pieces for seed are going to be 940 grams. So that's almost a full kilo I'm going to put back into this. And it looks like I probably have over a kilo left for preserving. I'm happy with that. So what I'm going to do here now with these, let's put these back. These are all going to get cleaned. Very good. I'll knock off any parts that look bad. I'll knock off any skin that looks bad. We'll be processing that in just a minute. These, though, are the ones that I'm keeping in this soil. And it's what I did last year, and they actually sat in the soil for a long time last year. In fact, from October 22nd, October 19th maybe, somewhere in the middle of October of last year is when I harvested it, and I planted it out. Oh my goodness, it was so late when I finally discovered my ginger, and I had forgotten about it. But yeah, so this stuff, we're just going to put a little soil over it, and I will be putting a little bit of water in this, not much, just enough to keep it moist. Okay, that's not enough. I'll put a little bit of water in here just to make the soil moist. I'm going to put a little more soil on this, and I'm just going to leave it right here. It's going to be fine out here in the Florida room. It stays cool out here. As long as I plant it out sometime in February. Someone remind me of that come February, that I need to plant these out. We are in Destin, Florida, so we have rather warm weather. Typically by the end of February, we're ready to plant these things out, and they're ready to go anyway. They'll start, some of them might even start sprouting, which will be very cool. So I put about a cup of water in this casserole dish. This is one of my gardening casserole dishes. I went down to Goodwill and bought me several of these. They're great glass trays. You can use them as a cloche, or you can use them as a just something to store in. But there's barely any moisture in here, and it will be staying. I'm not going to water this anymore for the next 2 months. It'll be fine. It's going to dry. It's going to get drier, but it's got a little moisture in it, and this stuff will be ready to go in about 2 months. So there we go. There is 5.5 pounds of ginger. What's that? 3.5 kilos of ginger. That's a lot of ginger. I even called a friend and tried to pawn off some. I'm pretty sure this one here, see how this one's darker? I'm pretty sure this is probably one of the former seed gingers. It actually has some holes eaten into it, which I think was really interesting. I'm going to cut into that and find out what that is. But anyway, so one thing I did want to say, this brush, this is not your standard dish brush. This is actually a grout brush. When you go to the hardware store, it's in the section of the hardware store where they sell tile for flooring and countertops and bathrooms and things like that. It has stiffer bristles. It's actually pretty good at cleaning things like ginger. Stiffer bristles get in there real good and clean out in the crevices, nooks and crannies. Also takes off some of the nastier pieces of skin. There's still a few little bits in here that are kind of nasty, but so what I'm going to do here is a few of these, not very much of it, but a few of these I'm going to stick in the freezer, and we will just preserve it that way. It won't last more than probably about 6 months in the freezer, so I don't want to commit too much to that. What I want it to do is dehydrate a lot of this and stick it in a vacuum sealed jar, which I'm very excited about. So I'm going to go get the mandolin and start slicing these things up. And I see I still have a little bit of cleanup to do. This one right here needs to come off. There we go. Anyway, so yeah, probably 3/4 or more of this is going to get done with the mandolin. So here we go. Next step. So if you watch my videos much, you'll remember this mandolin from other times. We've sliced up things. We did the pickles this way, and I don't remember what else we did. We sliced a number of things with this, and it works great. It's just a cheap mandolin off of Amazon that does us good. And I slice it down to, I don't know, maybe a millimeter thick. I want it pretty thin so that it will dehydrate really well. And we will run it through the dehydrator probably in 2 batches. It's probably going to take about 24 hours for each batch. So we'll just see how this goes. This is last year I did a lot more freezing. And in fact, I found a piece in the freezer just recently that has been in there for a very, very long time, probably 14 months. And it is frozen solid. I'm a little afraid of thawing it out. So we'll just see what happens here. You'll notice my hands, I have the gloves on. I'm using the little holder. This blade is sharp. You do not want to get tangled up with this blade. It will hurt you. These things, that's the one downside of these. I'm very happy we chose a mandolin that had these gloves. They're just some kind of fabric gloves, maybe nylon or something that just doesn't get sliced on that blade if you accidentally hit it. So it's a good thing. So yeah, I ended up slicing most of this at 3 millimeters instead of 1. A little thicker, and I think it'll be just fine because it's going to get thinner as it gets dehydrated, of course. And it will do good for ginger tea and ginger powder, that's for sure. I'm spreading these out. You don't want them to be overlapping when you put them on these trays, and these will go in the dehydrator certainly probably overnight. And the instructions say to put it at 176 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't like doing it that high. Doing those dehydrating temperatures that high. I'll leave it in longer, just so it doesn't break down as much of the nutrients of the ginger, which is the main reason I want this. Ginger is very beneficial for diabetics, and it helps. There's a whole bunch of things. In fact, Google it, and you'll see there's a whole bunch of major health benefits to eating ginger. But for me in particular, I'm most interested in helping with my blood sugar and occasionally stomach nausea, that kind of thing. Just, general health type stuff. So here we are at the dehydrator, and this is going in. We got 5 trays of ginger, 5 full trays. I'm very pleased with that. Now, if you guys will help me remember, next year when we do this and we have more ginger, I'm going to try some either fermented and or pickled ginger. Pickled like you get with your sushi. I think that would be very cool. Oh my goodness, I love that stuff. But this is a set tree dehydrator. It has 10 trays. It does pretty good. Actually, it does really good. It was a very good price, and we've been very pleased with this. Now, one of the things that I do, it says to do ginger at 176 degrees. I don't like going so high, simply because the higher the temperature, the more nutrients you're going to be removing from the ginger or damaging from the ginger. So I'll typically run it around 100. I'm going to try 108 on this, and we're going to go for 12 hours. It is in the evening right now, about 4 or 5 o'clock. I will be up and awake in 12 hours, and I'll be able to check this when I get up. We'll have to just keep an eye on it and see how it goes. We are kind of in a back bedroom, so that we can close it off if we need to. So those things will work on dehydrating. Yay, I'm so excited. I love my ginger tea. I'm looking forward to having it again this year. It's funny because remember I said I put that ginger in a tray and forgot about it? I didn't have any ginger this past year because I forgot about it, and most of it was destroyed. I had just barely enough to plant. Oh my goodness, I was kind of upset with myself. I went back and looked at that video and remembered. So anyway, let's come back tomorrow and finish this video. So here we are. It's the next morning, and this thing ran for 14 hours to do 3 millimeter thick slices of ginger. And we're going to find out if I sliced it too thick. I know, oh my goodness, the smell in here. I just can't get over the smell. But I'm going to be taking all these little pieces, putting them in a bowl here. They are crispy. They crunch. That's a good sign. That's where you want them to be. So I actually did check at about 2 o'clock in the morning, and there were still very soft spots in the middle of some of these bigger pieces. But oh, see, that's just beautiful. That is beautiful. So let's take all these out and see what we ended up with. Oh, and there we go, folks. We're looking at final product. I already put some in a jar, vacuum sealed it. We're going to talk about that here in a second. Oh, this is wonderful stuff. I got half a pound. Now remember, we had 5.5 pounds of ginger to start with. We saved over a pound for seed ginger for next year, and that's out there. So we had, what is that? Whatever we had left, we converted into dried ginger, and oh, it smelled so good here all night. But this stuff is crispy. It snaps. It's wonderful. Like I said, I checked it at 2 a.m. and added a couple more hours to it because I had set it for the 12, remember. Anyway, so I am going to store these in vacuum sealed jars, and I'm very excited about that. someone gifted me this vacuum sealer just recently for Christmas, or gifted us, I should say. And it is very cool. So thank you to the person who gave us that. It is going to go to great use. Now, this is something you can get off of Amazon. There's a rubber seal around here. There's 2 buttons on the top. There is a go, and you can see it starts a number of seconds count and a stop. That's all there is to it. It's very, very simple. So this here is for a regular mouth jar, and all and I've seen these before. One other thing about this, I did charge it up this morning, and you can see that it shows you the percentage charged, which is really cool. And so I got it charged up to 90 some odd percent before I had to get started here. But it's just a very simple thing from Amazon. Actually, it comes with stickers for the lids if you want. But anyway, so this thing here, what you do is you press it down on here and you start it. And it goes, and you're supposed to let it go for like 30 to 60 seconds depending on the size of the jar. I let these things go for 60 seconds, but it's actually sucking the air out of the jar, vacuum sealing it. So I'm very pleased with that. Now, one thing I am missing, and this is very important. I wanted to get some of those moisture absorber packs and put them in here. They are on their way. Amazon did not get them to me in time. I will get them though, and I will reopen these and stick one in there. I got them about the size of a business card, decent size. So I don't know if you're able to hear the tone raising a little bit. It's 52 seconds, 53, and so it's not raising anymore. So turn that off, and you'll notice this thing is sealed, vacuum sealed. The air sucked. Now, it's not all the air sucked out of here. I have a feeling it's a lot of the air sucked out of here. So that's pretty good. I will get those moisture packs in here. That's very important. This will be used, and incidentally, dried. This came out to about half a pound. So that's a lot. I'm hoping maybe this will last me a year. It'll be the first time I actually have a year of ginger. I may regret not doing more. I got 12 out there, but I'm gonna see how this lasts me and see what we can do with this. But I love the ginger, and this is good stuff. Now, one thing I did not mention is where I got my original seed ginger, and I've been meaning to tell you that this whole video, but I got the original seed ginger from the grocery store. I found the organic ginger and at Whole Foods. I'm sure there's other places you can get organic. The reason why I got organic is if it's not organic, then it is possibly has sprout inhibitor sprayed on it, which means it prevents it from sprouting while it's in transportation, storage, whatever else, and before it gets to you in the store. And that is a chemical, and that's not something I want in my food. It's not a good chemical. The other thing that it might, let's see, the other thing that I look for when I'm looking for the organic is that it's raised in my country. We are, of course, in the United States. A lot of stuff that's brought in from out of the country is irradiated, so it doesn't have pathogens and stuff on them. And I personally just am uncomfortable eating that. So I look for stuff that's in the country that's probably not irradiated. And when I planted that original bit that I got from the store, I actually planted everything I got. Because, you get a couple of little hands of ginger and stick it in the garden, break them up, stick them in the garden. And I think I bought one hand and broke it into 3. And seems like one of them failed. Maybe I harvested one early. I don't remember. That was years ago. But they sprouted. They gave me a couple plants, and then those 2 gave me 10. And so these 10 gave me 12. and I'm going to see how it goes this year. One thing I want to try to do next year, you can remind me of this, I want to try to break off one and separate it to see if I can get it to grow faster. I don't know, grow more faster, I should say. I don't know if that's a viable way to do that. Okay, so back to the vacuum sealer. I did want to show you this, and this is how these things work. This is for a regular mouth jar, but what happens if you have a large mouth jar? And we have a large mouth jar here, but that obviously isn't going to fit over that. Here's the cool thing. You grab the bottom, and there's a large mouth jar vacuum sealer. How cool is that? And so this, simply put over, turn it on, and away it goes. And now these things here, you can clean them. These seals come out. You can wipe these bits out, and the seal goes back in a certain way. Like this one has a little key notch to get the seal in there properly, etc. It wants to make sure that seal is working good, but it might occasionally need a cleaning. There's a little piece of something in that one. That's weird. Don't want that there. But yeah, so you want to keep these things clean and so forth. But so this thing, I'm going to let it go. It's in a pint jar, so I'm going to let it go 40 seconds and off. And this thing is, in fact, let me show you. This thing is vacuum sealed. You can hold it by the lid, just like when you're canning. Listen. Did you hear that? That was a good vacuum seal. So I'm very, very pleased with that. That's just exciting. And then, of course, it goes back together. Does it again. So that is my vacuum sealer that was gifted to me. Thank you so much to the person who did that. Gave it to, I think she probably gave it to Mrs. Bowtie because she's Mrs. Bowtie's friend. But I know she intended for our family to use it. Okay, so that is ginger preserved in a vacuum sealed jar. Again, moisture packs. Got to get those in here, and I will as soon as they get here. They're supposed to get here in a week from today. Holidays, things delayed. You know how it is. Anybody who's ordered from Amazon over the Christmas holidays probably knows. So I was talking about, in one of those little segments, I was talking about other ways to do ginger, and I talked about doing this with pickled ginger. Oh, lordy day. I tell you what, I found some rice vinegar in the cabinet up here, some unopened rice vinegar, and I got downright excited because I love pickled ginger. So I am probably going to do another little video on pickled ginger. And you know, the stuff that you get with sushi, and it's funny because if you like it, you love it. If you don't like it, you hate it, and that's okay. It's just our taste buds are different. Everybody's different. So, in fact, I like what Jess over at Roots and Refuge said. You know, when they talk about food that someone doesn't like, they don't say "ooh, gross." They say "that's not for me," and it's less offensive that way. You know, I think it's a lot nicer way to say it because hey, it might not be gross and disgusting to someone else, and what are you saying about someone when you say that? So yeah, that's going to be coming right up. I'd like to do a short video on that. It's not much to it. It really isn't much to it. It's a simple thing to do. The other thing is another video I want to do here coming right up. CT on YouTube commented on one of my the video about making a new bed, asked about what things to do to our beds that won't break the bank. And I think that's really important. I've talked about it before. If you go back and look over the past years, you'll see that we have compost that we get from a local place. I want to talk about some sources for compost that you can find. Almost guarantee that around you there is a source of compost. And the place I get it, it's absolutely free. I can get as much as I want to for free. And we'll talk about what's in that compost in that other video. But CT, I hear you, brother. I'm all on top of that. I'm all for that because there is so much we can do without shelling out a lot of cash. And see, I'm the kind of person, rather than shelling out, you can either pay for it or you can do it. And you go down to the big box store and buy bags of expensive soil, or you can do some hard work and find the stuff yourself. And that's the trade-off. And I'm the one that would rather do the hard work and get it right, and get it cheap. Because yeah, I'm a cheapskate, isn't that the definition? So yeah, CT, that is coming up. So anyway, that is the whole video. Outside of moisture packs, I'm very happy with that. I'm going to be enjoying ginger tea this next year at least. I'd like to see that last 2 years. I don't think it will. We'll just have to see. If you found this, actually, for those of you who have subscribed, I thank you. You're my heroes. I so appreciate you coming back and watching more of our videos. Those of you who have not subscribed, please do so. It helps grow the channel. It also helps you keep in touch with some of the things that we're going to be covering, like the ginger, the pickled ginger, or the video about the what else you can do to your garden beds without breaking the bank. Those two things will be coming up. I'm very excited about those two. Be sure to subscribe. Don't miss those things. Also, if you thought this was at all informational, educational, inspirational, or entertaining, watching me just mess around with a bunch of ginger, tooling around the garden, working with the dehydrator, click the thumbs up on this video, comment below, share it on your social media, all these things. Subscribe, click, like, sharing, and commenting. All these are free for you to do, and they actually help grow the channel. It really contributes to what we're trying to achieve here, and trying to get the word out to help people understand that it doesn't matter where you're at, you can grow something. We started out in an apartment with a 14-foot patio on a north-facing building, and so you talk about bad, and we raised a lot of tomatoes. We had tons. At one point we had 31 tomato plants, cucumber plants, squash. I can't even remember. I grew okra and corn and tons of peppers, bell peppers and chili peppers. So that's kind of was where we started from, and then we ended up with the property we're at now, and we're just so excited to have found this and that we're able to convert it. We have successfully completed over 2 years and 2 months being here. In fact, 2 years, 2 months, 2 days ago. The day before I started this video yesterday is when we started developing this property, and we're going to be doing more. We have more plans for it. So, yeah, comment, tell me where you're at in your garden. If you have any questions, if you have any recommendations, anything. In fact, doggone it, the Biden's alba. Someone helped me identify the Biden's alba, the white flower with the yellow center and the bees on it. And I want to thank you. It was so funny. I read that comment. I identified it sometime back in the late summer, early fall, and I couldn't think of the name of it for the life of me for months. And I kept forgetting to go look it up. And someone commented on it yesterday, commented on one of the later videos, and boom, there, as soon as I read that, I was like, that's what it is, Biden's alba. So yeah. Thank you for the comment on that. I do appreciate that. I do like hearing your input. So, yeah, that's about it. I hope you're having a wonderful 2024. Happy New Year, and have a blessed day.